Okay, so this is a little chat on some of the trends in horticulture. I'm going to concentrate on the landscape side of things because I tend to be a little bit more familiar with that. But if you simply go to Google and you type trends in horticulture, in research or turf or golf or sports fields or anything like that, you will find all kinds of lists of things that are happening recently within the world of horticulture. So let's start by talking about what is the green industry. Is it walking through the woods? Is it taking a hike? Is it managing a forest? It's all of that. It's landscapes and turf and golf courses and greenhouses and everything that goes into that. If you sell a plant in a pot, some company had to make that pot. Some company had to make the tag. Somebody had to write the copy that goes on the tag and take the pictures. And somebody has to manage the payroll and all of those sorts of things. So it's a huge industry that involves so many other industries and not just growing plants. So if we look at some trends, and this is from the National Association of Landscape Professionals. So if we look at some trends, you'll see that this is what they're saying right now are some of the things. Hardscaping, lots and lots of geometric, very ornate hardscaping. Contemporary landscape design. So if you look at that picture there, you can see a lot of different things happening in that picture. Different colors. So every year there's new colors. This year seems to be blue. Blue is a hard one to get, so you often find it in things like the pots that you're seeing there. Your style. They want to be able to do some of it themselves. And that's been a trend for a while now, that somebody will hire a landscape company or a lawn care company to come in and do some of the work. And the homeowner will do the rest of the work. And irrigation. That's becoming a bigger and bigger thing for all areas across the country. You can talk about what's happened in the last few years, but obviously this year was the strangest thing. And this was very state dependent. In Ohio, landscaping was still considered essential, so there was less of an economic impact. Michigan had a vastly different outcome because they considered it non-essential, and so everybody went home. You couldn't care for your lawn, and you couldn't care for a company's lawn. And companies started having problems. Even here in Ohio, you had companies that were having problems hiring people because their income had been reduced. So they found people to go out and cut the lawn for them. So we did see some reduction in commercial property management, a reduction in hardscaping for people who obviously lost their jobs or lost some income. But what we saw also was a huge increase in home gardening, especially food production. These are some of the things that are in demand right now. Lighting. So there are companies now who are doing landscape lighting specifically, and not just landscape lighting, but holiday lighting. Drainage issues, dealing with the grading and the drainage and mulching and raised beds and all of that sorts of thing. Residential home sales are starting to increase, so we're seeing property management there as far as getting the place ready to sell, curb appeal. And irrigation. That's becoming a bigger and bigger issue for lots of places. If we look at some business trends, some of this has been the last few years. Social media. Lots of companies are advertising only on Facebook, and I get it. A lot of folks in younger generations are not utilizing Facebook, except perhaps as a means to keep track of older generations. But older generations, those are the clients right now. They are using Facebook. So we are seeing younger generations with Facebook accounts specifically for business. We are seeing ads going into Twitter and Instagram and using those sorts of things specifically for business purposes and not just social purposes. Customer service. An updated web presence. You can't just have a crappy website anymore. Everybody's got a crappy website. So you have to be able to distinguish yourself from somebody else. It's no longer, look how great my company is, but look at the great things I can do for you. And that's how you start to distinguish yourself in this industry. Biggest issue in the last 10 years used to be that I would go visit interns and the guys would say, or the folks would say, yeah, I'd like to get some good people. Now they're saying, I'd just like to get some people. In the landscape end of the industry alone, the 100,000 people labor shortage this year. That's this year. That's not even counting H-2B problems. All right, that only adds to the problem. All right, H-2B is the legal worker visa for landscaping and agriculture, or not agriculture, that's H-2A, but part of that is a landscape industry. So the fact that they're not getting their workers is really challenging. This is one of the top industries in Ohio, or in Ohio. It's the top industry. It's one of the tops. We are one of the tops in the entire country. If you look at those other states, with the exception of Maryland, right, you look at North Carolina, Florida, Texas, California, Oregon, all of those have longer growing seasons with nice hot summers and milder winters. And tiny little Ohio competes with that. That's how big an industry horticulture, agriculture, is within the state of Ohio. We can look at another different segment, greenhouses, right? Greenhouses nowadays are becoming destination places. So it's not just you go and buy these plants, but you go to experience the greenhouse. They're offering courses. They're offering, and not just here, how to pot a plant, but it's how to make this wall hanging out of plants, how to do different color changes from one season to the next, how to grow your own food, how to have people come in just to wander to look at the plants. Lots of people are going out nowadays to take their pictures in the sunflower fields. That's floral tourism. It's like agritourism. Art. Lots and lots of different things. We're seeing more cities also say that chickens are allowed, small farm animals like that, whereas it used to be could never do that. Pollinators. Everybody wants to plant for the pollinators. And this year, vegetables was definitely a thing. You see the art all over the place. No matter where you look, there are plants. We are a plant-blind society, and yet there are plants everywhere. Now, this hasn't changed much in the last few years. Dwarf plants are becoming a big thing as more and more people are living in condominiums. So dwarf plants are a big thing. Pruning to reduce the size of plants. Heirloom vegetables, that's really increasing in the last year or so, and miniature gardens, fairy gardens, railroad gardens, things where it's small again, so people can spend less overall time in their garden.